name because you were very intentional in naming your nonprofit, the Dipping Spoon Foundation.
Yes. So my Yupik name is Galutak, and Galutak means dipping spoon. And the literal meaning of dipping spoon means from one dip, you dip into the water is given to everyone, it grows and keeps going. And so my Yupik name Galutak and my Western name Charity are both rooted in acts of service, sharing, and love.
Nice.
And so it was very important to me to create something, because water is also infinite, to create something that will stand the test of time. Because, at some point in time, we all will leave this great earth. But I believe that the work that I'm doing is something that can live on. And so I chose Dipping Spoon for all of us to dip in. And we dip into the water. We dip into our community so it can be given to everyone and also evolve. And so my mother's native name is Nanurak, and it means foundation stone. Okay. And I have a twin brother, and my twin brother's name is Peter, and his Yupik name is Achgech, and he's actually the bowl. So he's the bowl, and I'm the dipping spoon.
Oh, I love it. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful. So here you have a foundation, and you are starting to dip more into it and do the work.
Yes. So I realized I need to be surrounded by people who know a lot more than I do. So I applied for a fellowship with Vital Voices Global Partnership, which is based in Washington, D.C. And it's founded by Elise Nelson and actually Hillary Rodham Clinton. Okay. And what they do is they steward the success of the next generation of women entrepreneurs and social impact change makers who have grand ideas. And so I was one of 30 women chosen in their leadership incubator program in 2019 to help facilitate Dipping Spoon goals and structurally assist me in structurally organizing Dipping Spoon, opening myself up to different types of opportunities, networking, and meeting other women who also are agents of change in the work that they're doing. And so we had our in-person in New York City, and which was amazing to meet my fellowship sisters. And after that week, we were supposed to do like different trips and stuff to DC, because eventually the global Vital Voices Global headquarters was going to be opening there. And then the pandemic happened. And all the fundraising dinners and events that I was planning for the scholarship and everything went out the window. And like many people around the world, I wallowed in self-pity again, wondering, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I feel like I've created nothing now because the world's shut down. And I think everyone had those moments. But eventually I realized, okay, what's my mission? My mission has been to provide access, representation, Black, Indigenous students, women especially, to attend culinary school. Well, why? Okay, well, that's not good enough. And I remember telling myself that that's not good enough. And I couldn't believe that I was saying that out loud. Because I didn't know if I meant, well, is that not good enough? Meaning, like, am I giving up on my culture and who I am? Or am I giving up on, or the institution? Like, what isn't good enough? And then I realized it's a Band-Aid fix what I'm creating. It doesn't get to the root of the problem. And to get to the root of the problem, we need to start young. And then I thought of my life. I thought of that moment in second grade where I was told I was different, but then I was told that I'm special and I'm awesome and I'm great. And I believed my parents. And because of that, I've never given up, because I've always had mentors in my parents or my community, because my parents helped me understand the root of the issue. And that for me to create change in my own life, I need to always understand the root. Okay. So I can move forward. And I believe that that's what great community leaders do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so when I looked at Dipping Spoon, there's a lack of cultural and gender representation, sure, in this area, let's say culinary school. And then when you graduate from culinary school and you go work in these industries, And then I thought, well, not everyone's going to be a head chef at a restaurant, a celebrity chef on television. There's so many other avenues to have a really beautiful educational and business career through food. And I believe it's all the avenues that food touches: science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and what I call for dessert, public policy.
I love it.
And so food STEM. And I truly believe food is STEM's rock star cousin. Um, when you and I are in the kitchen, we are actively participating in math and science. When we're reading a cookbook, that's language arts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're all of a sudden deciding, this meal looks great, I'm going to take a photo of it and send it to my friends. Well, that's technology. And so I looked at all these different avenues where you could have a beautiful career through food.
Nice.
What if you love eating, but you don't like the cooking part, but you have a beautiful eye? Well, you could become a food photographer, a food stylist.
Right.
What if you're a beautiful linguist and a wordsmith? You could become a recipe developer or a food writer. All these different avenues. When you go to the grocery store and you buy a bag of chips or whatever else that's a prepackaged good, well, that's large scale math, science, technology, engineering. And then let's say and business. Let's say you love food, you love all those things, but you're just busy and you can't cook. But where's the representation then on the levels that food touches? Who works in the C-suite? Who makes those decisions? Where is the Indigenous representation? So I realized we need to harness kids young, very much like STEM programs that are out there, especially for like young Black girls, young Black women. They're getting young women involved in STEM from age 11 up until they graduate high school.
Right.
Food can do the same thing. And then going back, not everyone's going to be a head chef at a restaurant or celebrity chef on television. What other avenues can we provide to the next generation? Or let's say those are already working in food and they think like, oh, the top ceiling is me just managing a restaurant. No, if you're managing a restaurant, you are clearly working with a point of sale system of some sort. You have hard skills, you have soft skills, all of these things that different recruiting companies talk about. I'm like, you can work in the high level C-suite or corporate suite of food. And they need our Indigenous ancestral expertise, especially when we look at where our food comes from, food sovereignty. The original stewards of this land, Indigenous people, we have lived here since time memorial. We know how to cultivate this land.
Absolutely.
Through extreme weather systems, through extreme nomadic, like animal, like as they're moving, like the land where my mother's from, she comes from the land of the caribou. That's what Tuntatuliak means. A lot of Indigenous people, like they follow where their food goes.
Yeah.
So I just truly believe that for us to create a paradigm shift of change, we have to start young.
Nice.
And starting young for me was, all right, let's create an after school program called Self-Esteem, rooted in cultural identity, all the avenues that food touches. And we are following University Berkeley edible schoolyards.
Okay. Alice Waters.
Yeah, online curriculum, Alice Waters. And we're following their online curriculum. And then I tweaked it pertinent to the needs of the Indigenous community. Nice. Because there's just, again, it goes back to access. There may be some things I'm like, well, this doesn't apply to rural Alaska, so let's change it.
Right.
And so I created a harvest map that showcased all the different foods and berries and fresh harvest that's available year round in rural Alaska, especially so our students can understand this is your traditional food. This is where it comes from. And also, some of those items you're only available to hunt and fish during certain time frames. And little do they know, I'm sharing this information with our students so they understand, well, why is that, Miss Charity? How come we can only do this or do that? And then it's like, oh, well, now we're delving into public policy. So like really tying in those things so that students really understand. So I really believe in the work that we're doing, and our after-school program is actually so successful. We launched it in the Lower Kuskokwim School District, which is the second largest school district in the state of Alaska, and then the largest rural school district in the state. Every village is across 22 different school sites. All of those villages are only accessible by boat or plane. And I was so honored that we piloted our after-school program. Actually, in the first village was my mother's village.
Oh, that is special. That
is very special.